Big thanks to Scorpio Scribe, who does all my channel artwork. Check out our links in the description.
Wow, look at this guy. He's got Ligma. Ligma Ball.
Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors, and welcome back to the wonderful world of Shin. And what better way to kick off the atrocity of some of these Playmates figures reviews with a review of the Playmates Shin Godzilla. Now, I did intend to just kind of wing this one and not really give it the full-on treatment, but then I thought to myself, just go ahead and do a full video, because there are going to be people who are going to complain, and I felt like this might be fun anyway. So this is Playmates' attempt at getting a Shin Godzilla figure onto the market. However, it seemingly has backfired. There are plenty of folks in the collecting community who really don't like this at all, and when you take a look at it, it's pretty clear to see why. Well, I won't say why exactly because, censorship and all that fun stuff. But anyway, it looks like some red poop. But does it actually? Well, yeah. But anyway, let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. There will be a whole section on this comparing it to the NECA, but this is actually something interesting that Playmates was able to do in some way, shape, and or form. Basically, all of the figures that they have currently made in regards to Godzilla or King Kong seem to be simple remolds of some sort, recasts, reworks of figures which already exist on the market. There is some tooling involved to remove some aspects, such as the sternum spike that Shin Godzilla has, among some other smaller details, but this is essentially going to be the NECA figure dumbed down in the detail department with some random splotches of red paint because Shin had some red spots. Now, it does sound like I'm being totally negative because, well, for the most part, there's nothing here but negative, but there are some positives. Considering the fact that this is going to be using the majority of the NECA mold, some of the details actually found on this figure are rather nice. However, the majority of it is not going to be. Why is that? Well, they use a nice shiny black plastic, which unfortunately hides some of the details when you are looking at it at a distance. So some of the finer things like the skin texture, you're not really going to be able to see that well until you're up close and personal. And to be honest, if you really have to hold it under a microscope to see the finer details, that's not that great. Not to mention that the paint application for the teeth is a little lacking, considering that it looks like it's globbed in some areas and thinned out in others. And generally, the position of the head, which they could have easily fixed, makes this thing look like it's a very, very bad deep water fish. Not very good. And let's go ahead and take a look at the tail, because that's something we need to take a look at as well, because this is a Godzilla figure. I know I've been overall negative, but to be honest here, there really isn't much I can salvage from this section, unless this happened to be a sponsored review with a gun to my head saying I needed to say this was a really good figure. That being said, the body is made of a hard plastic, with the limbs mostly being soft plastic, specifically the arms, the head, and some portions of the tail. Which that brings us into articulation, which Shin is going to be rather basic with an odd choice. We do have a swivel at the neck, so this way you can spin the head around. We are going to have swivel shoulders, and there's not going to be any swivel at the base of the tail, but there are two joints, which are technically ball joints, but you're mostly going to get swivels out of them. And then for the hips, we do have limited range of movement hips on them. If you push too hard, you will hear a cracking sound. Believe me, I've done it. Now we're going to go ahead and move on over to sizing, which I paired up with some other of the Playmates Godzilla figures that I have. I just got the big Godzilla 2004 and the Kong Skull Island 6-incher. The reason why I did everything together here is, yes, obviously to save time, but I really don't feel like going into a super in-depth size comparison here, because this video is almost over. Now, what you've been looking forward to is here's a comparison with the NECA Shin Godzilla, so this way you can see where the similarities start and where they end. Again, some of the details on the NECA mold were removed, assuming for safety reasons, again, like that spike on the sternum area, so this way little kids won't be hurting themselves or anything like that. Otherwise, you'll notice that there are some one-to-one transitions to the Playmates figure, including some areas where there were once clearly joints, specifically around the wrists. And if you still have any doubt in your mind that Playmates didn't modify the NECA mold, if you take a look at the tail, yep, still that highly unsatisfactory tail tip, which does not have the face. And if you're going to comment that Shin Godzilla didn't get the face until he started to go nuclear and shoot the lasers, yeah, if you actually look at the art book for Shin Godzilla, he had the face on the tail starting from pretty much the get-go of when the tail actually looked like Shin's tail, not when it was like a tadpole thing. Yeah. Anyway, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Considering this is basically going to be a Walmart exclusive and distribution was kind of wonky to the end of 2019 to the beginning of 2020, with some folks not seeing it in one area, some seeing it in another, it's going to be rather difficult to get at this point in time, but once it does pop up on store shelves, it's going to be 13 or so bucks. Now, you might say that's not a bad thing. However, the previously released Bandai America figures were about the same price. I say about because those may have been $12.99, while this was $12.93 for me. Now, if you are looking to maybe get a vinyl Shin Godzilla figure, honestly, go over to Amazon, go on to eBay, search Movie Monster Series Shin Godzilla, and get that. Or you can actually treat yourself, and NECA has recently reissued, or is currently going to be reissuing, their Shin Godzilla figure in a nice box packaging with the poster for cover art. Yep. Essentially, if you have access to the internet, there really isn't a reason to buy this. I did for video. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand-selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand-selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.